Snark Squad. Babes, it's Sunday evening. And babes, we are here. It's cozy. It's premiere night. And yes, babes, HBO gods, stay blessing our messy selves.
They truly never let us rest, do they?
Literally never. The mango mimosas flowing. And babes, we are ready.
Oh, we are so ready.
Shout out, Cindy. Because, babes, you slid into our DMs
Yeah.
and asked us to cover this. And, baby, you already know. When you call, we answer. We are here for you. All we ask, babes, is that you share this with a friend, and Cindy, slide back into the DMs because merch is coming your way, so we need your size.
Yes, Sydney, get in the DMs right now. We have a priority shipping label with your name on it. We just need, the measurements.
Exactly. Okay, but before we get into the actual chaos of this premiere, we need a moment of respect for Zendaya.
Absolutely.
Babes, we stand. This is a safe space. She is an absolute queen.
A literal generational talent.
I am still vibrating from the sheer force of her screen presence. She completely obliterates every ounce of her global fashion icon vanity.
She really does.
We are so conditioned to see her serving like absolute architectural elegance on the red carpet, looking like untouchable royalty. And here, she is playing a dirtbag drug mule, sweating out her body weight in the Texas desert with dirt under her fingernails.
Right, and it's not just the absence of makeup,
Pretty much everything. It's the haunted look in her eyes. I just could not look away. It's so raw, and honestly, she carries the entire psychological weight of this universe on her back.
Which is precisely the marker of her talent. I mean, the juxtaposition between her highly curated public persona and this deeply broken, visceral character is just a masterclass in physical acting.
Yes.
Physical acting.
Exactly. She shrinks herself. Have you noticed how her shoulders are perpetually hunched?
Oh my God, yes. Like she's constantly bracing for an impact.
Her gait is uneven. She physically manifests the crushing weight of her circumstances, while some of the other characters are playing in a completely different, almost satirical sandbox.
Oh, we will get to the sandbox. She's delivering a gritty, Oscar-worthy crime thriller performance. She anchors the reality of the entire show.
You can physically feel her exhaustion through the screen. But before we fully unpack all of that trauma, I have to set the scene for the Snark Squad, because we just had the most chaotic dinner before this.
It was a disaster, a beautiful, delicious disaster.
We went to this Italian restaurant across from the studio, and it was authentic. Authentic. Like, they only spoke Italian.
Zero English. None. It was a completely immersive linguistic blockade that we were honestly entirely unprepared to navigate.
I was absolutely panicking. I was so hungry. The mimosas from earlier were already hitting, and I am sitting there aggressively gesturing.
You were waving your arms like a traffic cop.
I was. Pointing at the parchment paper menu, making these wild, aggressive, pasta-twirling motions with my fork in the air, just trying to communicate that I wanted spaghetti.
It was a spectacle.
I was laughing so hard my mascara was running, and the waiter looked at me with this mix of, profound pity and absolute confusion. I was emotionally unwell, just trying to secure a simple carbohydrate.
And I, of course, attempted to manage the situation analytically.
Oh, sure you did.
I did. I looked at the menu and thought, well, I can deduce these ingredients based on Latin root words and a rudimentary understanding of Romance languages.
How'd that work out for you?
I failed spectacularly.
You really did.
I was fully confident I was ordering a classic understated cacio e pepe, and I ended up ordering something entirely mysterious.
Tell them what it had.
It arrived, and it had tentacles. Small suction cup tentacles. I still don't know what aquatic creature I consumed.
I was gagging watching you eat it.
I ate it out of sheer, unyielding stubbornness. I refused to admit defeat to the waiter.
You were literally chewing on suction cups just to protect your ego.
Yeah.
But let's be honest.
Yeah.
The food. Amazing. Like, babes, we low-key thought a celebrity was going to walk in. That's how legit it felt. The energy, the impossibly dim lighting where you can barely see the person across from you.
Which is probably why I couldn't properly identify my tentacle dish.
Exactly. But the loud clanking of wine glasses, it perfectly set the mood for this unhinged HBO Sunday.
It was the perfect cinematic prelude, a little real-world, low-stakes chaos to prepare our nervous systems for the high-stakes fictional chaos we were about to endure.
Speaking of chaos, our DMs, out of control. We have been getting shady, snarky, and stupid submissions all week.
The inbox is a disaster zone. The Snark Squad chose violence this week.
So, we need to read a few. For the new listeners joining the Snark Squad today, here's how this works. You send in your real-life messy situations, and we decide, is it shady Snarky or just straight up stupid.
And trust me, we hold nothing back.
Oh, we judge heavily. Okay, submission 1. Are you ready?
Hit me.
Okay, quote. I've been secretly hooking up with my coworker, who is also my boss, and now he's dating someone else in the office. The betrayal.
Oh.
I am hyperventilating for you. But also, the sheer logistics of this. How do you even walk into the office?
That is an HR nightmare of epic proportions.
What do you wear to the 9 a.m. marketing sync, knowing the guy running the meeting has seen you naked and is now making eyes at the junior graphic designer?
Let's break down the sheer structural nightmare of the scenario. You are sleeping with the person who authorizes your direct deposit.
The power dynamic.
Exactly. That is an inherent, unresolvable power imbalance. And now he is parading around another subordinate. The liability is staggering.
It's so messy.
If HR gets wind of this, the entire department is going to be sitting through mandatory compliance seminars for a decade.
For a decade.
The verdict here is definitively shady on his part. He's exploiting his authority and, frankly, stupid on yours for letting your career get entangled with upper management's dating pool.
I have to agree. Shady and stupid. Get a new job immediately. Flee the building.
Update your resume tonight.
Literally, right now. But wait, submission Q is where the psychological warfare really begins. Quote, I pretended to like a guy's entire personality just to get into his friend group, and now I'm stuck maintaining the lie.
Oh, a method actor.
Oh my God, you are doing a real-life Cassie Howard. You are morphing yourself for male validation.
It sounds exhausting.
But I have to admit, I emotionally relate to the delusion of altering your personality for a crush.
Oh, do you?
I do. I once pretended to know everything about Formula One just to talk to a guy at a bar. I memorized the name Max Verstappen and literally called the car a vroom machine in my head the entire night.
Okay, but there is a vast, cavernous difference between tolerating a single conversation about aerodynamics and constructing an entirely fabricated ongoing identity.
That is true. A one-night lie is different than a lifestyle lie.
You haven't just told a white lie. You have taken on a full-time, unpaid internship as a chameleon. You are Daniel Day-Lewis in a friend group that doesn't even compensate you for your performance art.
Unpaid internship.
The sheer cognitive load of keeping your lies straight must be debilitating. What if they ask you about his obscure hobbies?
You'd have to study.
Exactly. My verdict is snarky. It's a hilarious cell phone, but you are playing a highly dangerous game of psychological Jenga. One wrong move, and the whole persona collapses.
Snarky, for sure. The burnout is going to hit you like a freight train. Okay, submission 3, and this one is wild. We might actually fight over this.
I am bracing myself.
Quote, I found my friend's private Finsta account where she talks badly about everyone in our group, and I'm debating exposing her.
Oh, no.
Yes, you absolutely have to expose her. Send the screenshots to the group chat right now. Burn the entire infrastructure of the friend group to the ground.
Absolutely not. I disagree completely.
But
you do not send those screenshots. You bury them.
Are you kidding me? She is actively trashing everyone.
It doesn't matter.
She is sitting at brunch, smiling in their faces, splitting a carafe of mimosas, and then going home to digitally assassinate them. I would want to know if my friend was a snake.
Take a step back and look at the methodology here. How did you find this private account?
Who cares how she found it?
I care. You snooped. You actively violated her privacy to infiltrate a digital space she specifically walled off to vent her frustrations.
But she's being two-faced.
Exposing those screenshots doesn't make you the righteous whistleblower. It makes you the cyber vigilante who breached trust. You are escalating a private, albeit toxic, venting session into a public, irreparable execution.
No, stop. The methodology doesn't matter when the crime is this heinous.
Of course it matters.
If she is posting on a locked account that my outfit was tragic or that my relationship is failing, she has forfeited her right to privacy. The truth has to come out.
You are operating on pure emotion.
I would literally project her Finsta feed onto a blank wall at her next birthday party. It's about protecting the innocent people in the group who think she actually likes them.
Which is exactly why you are a strategic liability at social gatherings. Look at the tactical error you are making. The moment you drop those screenshots, the narrative instantly shifts.
To what? The truth.
No, it is no longer a conversation about what she said. The entire group's focus will pivot to the fact that you digitally stalked her, bypassed her privacy settings, harvested her data, and orchestrated a calculated takedown. So you instantly become the Machiavellian villain of the friend group. They will all wonder what you are digging up on them.
I am spiraling. I cannot let a fake friend walk around unbothered, collecting compliments and birthday gifts from people she secretly despises.
They are just petty complaints on a Finsta.
I would drop the screenshots, mute my phone, and walk away in slow motion while the group chat implodes behind me.
You are treating your actual life like the season finale of a Bravo reality show. The verdict is shady on both sides.
Oh, God.
Yes. She is undeniably shady for cultivating a secret burn book. But you are shady for conducting unsanctioned espionage. Keep the screenshots in the vault, slowly and quietly distance yourself from her, but do not detonate the nuclear option.
Ugh, my blood is boiling. Snark Squad, you need to let us know whose side you were on in the DMs. Because I am ready to go to war over this group chat justice.
Please, everyone, validate logic over chaos in the comments.
They won't. They love the chaos. But right now, finish those mimosas, take a deep breath, and emotionally brace yourselves. Because we have to talk about this premiere.
Let's transition into the absolute cinematic chaos. Because structurally, this episode reset the entire foundation of the series.
Okay, first of all, the shock. The physical shock to my nervous system when the title card faded and I realized there was a 4 to 5 year time jump.
It was a brilliant, jarring leap.
I was screaming at the TV. They aren't in high school anymore. The glitter tears are gone. The lockers are gone. The neon lighting is gone. We have been thrust into the real, terrifying, unforgiving adult world.
It is a massive structural shift for the narrative, but honestly, it was necessary given how much time has passed in the real world between seasons.
Right, because they all look like full adults now anyway.
Exactly. But what absolutely captivated me wasn't just the chronological leap, it was the total aesthetic overhaul. The cinematography. We need to spend a minute on this.
Please, because it looked like a completely different show.
They shot this season on 65mm film with a 2.20 to 1 aspect ratio.
Okay, wait. I noticed the frame looked completely different. It felt wider, almost like I was watching an old Tarantino movie or a spaghetti western.
Spot on.
It made Rue look so incredibly small when she was walking through that sprawling desert. Is that a specific camera choice they made to show that she's completely out of her depth now?
Precisely. That is exactly what the 65mm format does. By widening the frame, the camera captures vast, sweeping, isolating landscapes.
Wow.
The harsh, unforgiving sunlight of the Texas and Mexico deserts completely replaces the claustrophobic purple and blue neon high school hallways we are used to.
Which I loved, by the way. I miss the purple and blue.
I know you do. But those high school hallways, as toxic as they were, functioned as an incubator. Now, the incubator is shattered. The characters are tiny, vulnerable specks against a massive, indifferent adult world.
That makes so much sense.
And the sonic landscape shifted just as dramatically. Hans Zimmer stepped in.
The music was so intense.
So instead of Lebron's haunting gospel electronic beats that felt like a localized heartbeat, we are hit with these massive, sweeping, booming brass horns. It fundamentally changes the psychology of how you perceive the danger they are in.
I am mourning the loss of the neon. I really am. I lived for that glittery, hyper-stylized aesthetic because it felt like a fever dream. But I have to admit, this new gritty reality feels so heavy and consequential.
It grounds the stakes.
Because the illusion of youth is officially gone. But babes, my heart literally shattered into a million pieces during the tribute to Angus Cloud.
That was incredibly profound.
When they revealed that Fez is serving a 30-year prison sentence, I needed a moment. I paused the show, and I was just sobbing.
It was a profoundly beautiful and heartbreaking way to honor him. It keeps his character's presence alive within the universe of the show without having him awkwardly recast or written off in a cheap way.
It felt so respectful.
It anchors the reality of the consequences from the season 2 finale. Every time a character ignores a call from a correctional facility, we feel his absence.
And speaking of characters scattered to the wind, Jules is off in New York functioning as a high-end sugar baby.
Which is an entire socioeconomic study in itself.
Good for her. Honestly, get that bag. If anyone can navigate the complex power dynamics of that economy and come out on top, it is Jules.
She understands the transactional nature of perception perfectly.
But we cannot linger in New York because we have to talk about the absolute core of this premiere, Rue's Breaking Bad era. I was physically stressed, clutching my throw pillow for 45 minutes straight.
It is a profound, terrifying escalation of her circumstances. We learn that she owes the terrifying, monotone ex-teacher turned drug kingpin, Lori, a staggering debt.
$43 million. With an M.
The math on that is horrifying.
Because of that suitcase full of drugs, her mom flushed down the toilet in season 2, combined with an absolutely insane 20% monthly compound interest rate over 4 years. I was doing the math in my head, and the dread just washes over you.
Lori is an absolute monster.
She really is. But she is graciously, and I use that word with heavy sarcasm, settling for $100,000 if Rue works off the debt as her cross-border drug mule.
The true terror of Lori is her complete lack of theatrics. Her flat effect while discussing multi-million-dollar debts, compound interest, and human trafficking is chilling.
She has dead eyes.
She speaks about ruining Rue's life with the same tone one might use to order a coffee. So Rue is relegated to running fentanyl across the U.S.-Mexico border. And that specific border wall sequence,
Oh my God.
it is a masterclass in blending sheer physical comedy with life-or-death tension.
I was covering my eyes. Rue drives the car up the smuggler's ramp, and she miscalculates the momentum. The car gets stuck horizontally at the very top of the steel border fence.
The sound of the metal scraping.
It is teetering back and forth like a literal seesaw, and she has to carefully shimmy her way out of the driver's seat without shifting the center of gravity and tipping the car over.
Every millimeter of movement mattered.
I was stressing out. My smartwatch literally alerted me that my heart rate had spiked to 150 BPM. I thought she was going to plummet to her death in episode 1.
While you were having a cardiovascular event, I was marveling at the visual metaphor.
Of course you were.
It's not just a thrilling stunt. It's the ultimate physical manifestation of Rue's internal state. She has spent her entire life teetering on the edge, perfectly, precariously balanced between survival and a catastrophic fatal fall.
Okay, wait, that is actually brilliant.
And the punchline of the scene, the fact that a small random bird landing on the hood of the car is what finally balances the weight perfectly so she can escape. It's absurdism at its finest.
It was so ridiculous.
It highlights her complete and utter lack of control over her own fate. Her survival comes down to the random whims of nature.
Okay, I love that analysis, but my brain was immediately wiped of all metaphors. Because then we have to discuss the grossest, most revolting scene in modern television history.
Ah, yes, the motel.
I am still gagging. The fentanyl balloon swallowing scene in the motel room.
It was profoundly visceral.
Visceral is a very polite word for it. I cannot even formulate the words. The industrial-sized bottle of KY jelly, the thick spit, the violent gag reflex.
They spared no auditory detail.
And then Faye. Sweet, chaotic Faye, literally losing control of her bowels in the bathtub where a stray dog wanders in and starts licking it up.
A truly wretched sequence of events.
I was dry heaving into my mimosa glass. Why did the creator make us watch that? Why did the dog have to be involved in this narrative?
If we look at it analytically, it serves a highly specific purpose. For 2 seasons, the show has been criticized by some for romanticizing drug use, making it look ethereal, meaty, and glamorous.
With the glitter and the cool lighting, yeah.
Exactly. This scene violently strips away any lingering romanticization. It is the creator looking directly at the audience and punishing us for ever thinking this lifestyle was cool.
Message received. Loud and clear.
It forces you to confront the degrading, humiliating, and physically revolting reality of what addiction and trafficking actually look like. It grounds the sprawling, beautiful 65mm cinematography in absolute filth. I admit my stomach turned, but the narrative impact is undeniable. It strips away their dignity completely.
I hear you, but I am permanently traumatized.
Yeah.
I will never look at a bathtub the same way again. Or a dog, honestly.
That is fair.
Okay, so Rue survives the diarrhea tub incident, and she ends up crashing with the Millers, this family in rural Texas. Now, babes, a quick but very firm disclaimer to the Snark Squad.
Let's lay the ground rules.
We are about to discuss some politically charged character dynamics. We are remaining strictly impartial here. We are purely reporting on the absolute chaos of the show's writing, the plot devices, and the character choices.
Precisely. We are analyzing the narrative, nothing else.
We are not endorsing, validating, or critiquing any real-world political viewpoints. We are just here for the messy TV drama. Okay.
So the show presents the Millers as a highly conservative, Christian, off-the-grid homestead family.
And it is sheer, unadulterated comedy. Think about the juxtaposition. Rue, our messy, drug-smuggling, chronically lying, chaotic icon, is sitting at their rustic wooden dinner table.
Drinking unpasteurized milk?
Yes. She is actively pretending to be a preppy college journalist studying immigration patterns, just so she can get a free glass of fresh milk and a warm bed. I was screaming at her audacity.
She adapts to her environment purely for survival.
But the craziest part isn't the lie. It's that Rue looks around at this family churning their own butter with no Wi-Fi, and she suddenly wants to be a trad wife.
It's a massive psychological leap.
She is looking at them and thinking, wow, this is the peace and structure I need to fix my broken brain. She wants to trade cartel runs for sourdough starters.
It's a fascinating psychological pivot. Rue is so profoundly desperate for an anchor. She is running from the unbearable terror of Lori and the cartel, so she projects absolute utopian perfection onto this family.
Right, she just sees an escape hatch.
She completely ignores any ideological differences, any political realities, or the underlying complexities of their lifestyle because, in that specific moment, they represent the three things she lacks: safety, simplicity, and unwavering faith.
It's just a fantasy for her.
She thinks if she can just mimic their lifestyle, she can magically inherit their peace. Which leads directly into one of the most powerful scenes of the episode, her reunion in the diner with Ali.
Coleman Domingo. Hand that man all the Emmys right now.
His performance is flawless.
Rue is sitting across from him in that fluorescent lip diner, pouring her heart out, and she is suddenly desperate to find God. But it's so obvious she isn't having a true, earnest spiritual awakening.
Not at all.
She is furiously flipping through a Bible, looking for a cosmic loophole to escape her $43 million debt. She's basically saying, if God is real, maybe he will physically intervene and save me from this cartel. It broke my heart because she is just so wildly lost and terrified.
Ali's response is a masterstroke of writing. He sees right through her sudden, convenient theological curiosity. He doesn't coddle her.
He never does.
He tells her point blank that she either has faith or she doesn't. She cannot just intellectualize religion as an escape hatch from the consequences of her own actions. It brilliantly sets up the thematic core of the entire season for Rue, the desperate, frantic search for salvation versus the brutal, inescapable reality of consequence.
Okay, I need to pivot because my blood pressure cannot handle staying on Rue's life or death stakes for too long. We have to travel from the gritty Texas desert to the absolute McMansion of horrors.
Cassie and Nate.
Cassie and Nate. The transition from the wide-open, dangerous expanse of the desert to their sterile, massive, artificially lit, outdated 9/11-era suburban house is incredibly jarring. I was screaming at the television. They were officially engaged, living in this giant beige monstrosity with way too many columns.
The interior design is violently beige.
And Cassie, oh my God, Cassie. I had to look away through my fingers.
It was difficult to watch.
She is desperately filming TikTok videos in the middle of this cavernous living room, dressed as a literal panting puppy, crawling around on all fours, begging for male validation from strangers on the internet.
The auditory experience of her barking at a ring light.
I am watching her, and I am physically cringing. It is so profoundly pathetic, I felt secondhand embarrassment radiating out of the screen.
Let's analyze the architecture of that desperation. Cassie has historically tied her entire self-worth and identity to the male gaze.
Always.
In high school, that gaze was localized. It was about capturing the attention of the boys in the hallway or at a house party. Now, isolated in this massive empty house with a fiancé who barely registers her humanity, the hallway has become the entire internet.
Oh.
The psychological incubator has broken, so she requires a global audience just to feel real. She is producing her own tragic, isolated soap opera.
And Nate. Do not even get me started on Nate Jacobs. He drives a Cybertruck.
Of course he does.
Of course he drives a Cybertruck. It is the ultimate monument to his fragile ego. And he carries a woven leather Bottega Veneta bag like he is some high-fashion mogul.
The sartorial choices are very deliberate.
He's become so goofy and unhinged, he's running his dad Cal's construction business straight into the ground. But he thinks he's a visionary because he's trying to build sun settlers.
The real estate venture.
He literally says, with his whole chest, a boomer dies every 15 seconds, and I'm going to capitalize on it. I was laughing so hard. He thinks he is a genius, but he is a clown in a tech bro uniform.
Nate's trajectory is a fascinating, terrifying study in fragile masculinity and inherited trauma manifesting as vulture capitalism.
Vulture capitalism.
Yeah.
Yes.
In high school, Nate was focused on emotionally destroying his peers. Now, as an adult, he has pivoted to economically exploiting society. He is desperately trying to emulate his father's financial success while actively, violently hating his father.
It's such a sick dynamic.
Sun Settlers Project, essentially building luxury retirement communities to trap the aging population's wealth, is his attempt to assert dominance. He wants to prove he is an alpha capitalist riding the tidal wave of death, as he grotesquely puts it.
It is so grotesque.
But it's all a hollow facade. His business is failing, he's overextended, and fundamentally he is just as empty and terrified as he was at 18.
Which perfectly sets the stage for the most unhinged dinner scene I have ever witnessed. The 50K floral fight.
The aesthetics of that scene were wild.
They're sitting at opposite ends of this ridiculously long dining table, surrounded by exactly 97 Gothic candles. Why are there 97 candles? It looks like a seance.
Very Dracula's castle.
Cassie demands $50,000 for her wedding flowers. Nate says absolutely not, they don't have the cash flow because his vulture capitalism is failing. And Cassie's response to being told no, she doesn't cry. She threatens to start an OnlyFans.
This is where I have to step in and push back on your earlier assessment of Cassie as merely pathetic.
Wait, you don't think she's pathetic?
Ethic.
I'm gagging at her, crawling around barking at a ring light.
I think the puppy routine is a calculated means to an end. You view her as a trapped princess, crying in a beige castle.
I want to offer a different framework. Cassie is a psychological sniper.
A psychological sniper. Wait, you think she's doing this on purpose?
Yeah.
Because to me, she looks completely unhinged and desperate.
Look closely at how masterfully she dismantles him in that scene. She knows exactly what she is doing. Nate's entire sense of masculinity is inextricably tied to his ability to provide for her and control her environment.
Right.
When he refuses the floral budget, she doesn't throw a typical tantrum. She weaponizes her own body and his financial insecurity simultaneously. She coldly calls his proposed budget a ghetto wedding. Oh, that line was lethal.
She knows that specific phrase will decimate his ego. By threatening to start an OnlyFans, she corners him. She forces him into a position where he either admits he is too poor to provide the wedding she wants, or he cedes control of her sexuality to the internet.
Holy wait.
She completely outmaneuvers him, securing the OnlyFans with the absurd, hilarious caveat from Nate that she doesn't show her face and boobs in the same picture.
Oh my God, you just cracked the code. She essentially weaponized his fragility. She flipped the power dynamic completely. She put him on a metaphorical and then literal leash.
Precisely.
And then they immediately start role-playing with dog play right there on the dining room table. It is so intensely toxic, but I am utterly obsessed with the absolute rot of their relationship. It is mesmerizing to watch two terrible people outplay each other.
She has successfully become the boss of the relationship by monetizing the very thing Nate tried to possess exclusively. It is a deeply unhealthy, fascinating power shift. They have built a relationship on mutually assured destruction.
Okay, from the beige McMansion of doom, we travel west to the Hollywood hustle. Lexi and Maddie. Again, Snark Squad political neutrality warning. We are just talking about the plot devices the creator chose.
Just analyzing the text.
Lexi is working as an exhausted PA for a legendary, terrifying showrunner played by Sharon freaking Stone. They're producing a nighttime soap opera called LA Nights.
It's a very clear, sharp, satirical take on the current Hollywood ecosystem. The creator is poking fun at the industry's performative nature, showcasing writers' rooms filled with self-proclaimed communists who are simultaneously cashing massive, multi-million-dollar studio checks.
The irony is so thick.
It's a slightly heavy-handed but highly effective critique of the hypocrisy of the entertainment industry.
I live for Sharon Stone yelling at everyone.
Yeah.
But what really broke my heart is that Lexi is aggressively ignoring Fez's collect calls from prison.
That was hard to watch.
She's acting like she's this big, important career girl now, too busy wrangling vegan lattes for writers to pick up the phone for the guy who literally took a bullet to protect his family. I was yelling at my screen for her to pick up.
Lexi's behavior is entirely consistent with her character profile, though. She has always used art, observation, and work as a shield against messy reality.
Oh, like the play in season 2?
Exactly. In high school, she wrote a play to process her trauma from a safe distance. Now, her job in Hollywood serves the exact same function. Ignoring Fez isn't just her being busy. It is an active, desperate coping mechanism to avoid dealing with the crushing guilt and trauma associated with his incarceration.
Because if she answers, it's real.
If she answers the phone, the reality of his 30-year sentence becomes real. So she focuses on the vegan lattes.
That makes me so sad. And then there is Maddie, our glamorous, terrifying icon. She's working as a low-level talent manager for this obnoxious heartthrob actor.
The absolute worst client imaginable.
Her Instagram grid looks absolutely incredible, though she's posing with Anna Wintour, attending premieres, looking like she runs the world. Cassie is scrolling through it, literally turning green with envy.
The jealousy is palpable.
But the reality, Maddie is dead broke, exhausted, and picking up her client's dry cleaning. Babes, I emotionally relate to the fake it till you make it 20-something struggle so much. We have all posted a highly edited, glamorous cocktail photo while secretly eating ramen noodles in a studio apartment.
Maddie's storyline is the perfect counterweight to Cassie's. It highlights the exhausting facade of social media success. Maddie understands the fundamental game of Hollywood. Perception dictates reality.
If you look rich, they think you're rich.
If you look important, people will treat you as important. But the physical and financial toll of maintaining that perception is bleeding her dry. She is constantly adjacent to extreme wealth and power, but she is completely excluded from actually possessing any of it. She is a spectator in the VIP section.
Ugh, the VIP section, but you can't afford a drink. Okay, we have to get back to the climax of the episode because my heart is pounding just thinking about it. Rue and Alamo Brown.
This final sequence is where the episode structurally shifts from a sprawling drama back into a taut, high-stakes thriller.
And it's so stressful.
Rue arrives to deliver a massive quantity of drugs to this remote, heavily guarded mansion owned by Alamo Brown, who operates as a strip club kingpin.
He is terrifying. He's walking around his compound in a silk bathrobe, a huge cowboy hat, and he's casually holding a golden gun.
The aesthetic is very cartel chic.
And Rue, who has clearly lost any remaining shred of her self-preservation instincts, confidently waltzes up to him and asks him for a job. She's literally trying to get hired by a human trafficker just to escape Lori. Talk about jumping out of the frying pan and directly into a volcano.
It's a desperate, wildly miscalculated gambit. She believes she can play these two monsters against each other, but then the inciting incident of the climax detonates.
The overdose.
One of Alamo's girls immediately overdoses on the ecstasy Rue just delivered, because, as we know, the pills were secretly laced with fentanyl by Lori to ensure maximum addiction.
Pure, unfiltered panic ensues. I was holding my breath. Alamo turns on Rue instantly, assuming she's an assassin sent by a rival cartel to poison his operation.
A logical conclusion from his perspective.
And Rue just starts speed-talking to save her life. She is crying, she is hyperventilating, and she suddenly claims that God brought her and Alamo together for a mutual reinvention.
The absolute desperation.
She is pulling from the Christian family she met earlier, throwing every piece of theological jargon at the wall, hoping something sticks.
She weaponizes the vocabulary of salvation to buy herself seconds of life. And Alamo, leaning fully into his chaotic, omnipotent kingpin persona, decides to test this sudden religious fervor. He initiates the William Tell test.
He takes a literal green apple from a fruit bowl, places it on Rue's head, and points a golden gun squarely at her face.
The tension in that frame.
He says he wants to see if God believes in her. I was gripping the couch cushions. The sound design dropped out. It was dead silent. And then, bang! He shoots the apple clean off her head.
The visual of the apple exploding.
Rue survives, the apple splatters, and Rue just lets out this unhinged, hysterical, guttural laugh. It was the scariest sound I've ever heard.
That laugh is the most important analytical moment of the entire episode. It is not a laugh of relief. It is not a laugh of joy.
It sounded like madness.
It is the chilling sound of someone whose psychological hard drive has completely and permanently crashed. She has stared violent death in the face so many times that her human survival instinct has short-circuited into pure, unfiltered absurdity. She has crossed a threshold where she completely lacks self-preservation. Death has become a punchline to her.
It sent me into orbit. I had goosebumps covering my arms, which perfectly, flawlessly transitions us into our first segment.
Let's do it.
Okay, Snark Squad. Segment 1, main character, or chaotic side plot, let's definitively call it, who is carrying the narrative weight of this premiere and who is just spiraling beautifully in the background.
I think the data is overwhelming, and there is unanimous agreement on the main character.
Oh, 100%. Without a shadow of a doubt, it is Zendaya. It is Rue. She is acting in an Oscar-caliber, high-stakes, life-or-death cartel thriller.
She absolutely is.
She is fighting kingpins, surviving fentanyl overdoses, balancing cars on international borders, and getting shot at with golden guns. She is carrying the entire narrative architecture of the show.
Her storyline has actual tangible stakes. It's a matter of literal life and death, of freedom versus a lifetime of incarceration or human trafficking. While everyone else in the ensemble is dealing with interpersonal emotional drama, Rue is dealing with brutal existential survival. The gravity of her plotline anchors the entire series.
Exactly. So if Rue is the main character carrying the world on her shoulders, who is spiraling in the background, who is our ultimate chaotic side plot? For me, is Cassie Howard.
Without a doubt, it is the definition of a chaotic B-plot.
Her entire storyline consists of crawling around making TikTok puppy videos, lighting 97 candles in a beige dining room, and throwing an absolute tantrum over a $50,000 floral budget.
The contrast is absurd.
While Rue is swallowing balloons of fentanyl to avoid being murdered by a cartel, Cassie is threatening to start an OnlyFans because she refuses to have a ghetto wedding. It is peak delusional soap opera chaos. I am absolutely living for the mess, but she is definitely the side plot.
The juxtaposition between the two storylines is almost structurally comical. Levinson uses Cassie's plotline to highlight how deeply insulated Cassie and Nate are in their suburban McMansion bubble. They are completely shielded from the actual harsh, violent realities of the world. Rue is navigating just a few miles away. Their biggest crisis is the cash flow for orchids.
It really is two different shows.
Oh.
Okay, segment 2, most toxic dynamic. Call it out right now. Which relationship is the absolute most unhealthy radioactive bond on this show?
One might initially hypothesize that it's Rue and Laurie, given the $43 million debt, the threat of human trafficking, and the physical degradation. But analytically?
No. It is definitively, undeniably Cassie and Nate. They are a biohazard.
Let's break it down to its core elements. Their relationship is a masterclass in mutually assured destruction. Nate operates under the delusion that he is the alpha, the provider, the supreme controller of the environment. He thinks he holds the absolute power because he holds the purse strings.
But as you pointed out earlier, Cassie has completely outsmarted him in the most sinister, toxic way possible.
She really did.
She weaponized her own body and his deep-seated financial insecurity to usurp the throne. She essentially looked him in the eye and said, "If you can't buy me $50,000 worth of flowers, I will sell the exclusivity of my body to the entire internet." She emasculated him so thoroughly, targeting his exact weak points, that he completely submitted to her demands.
It is clinically horrifying. They are actively feeding off each other's worst, most destructive impulses. Nate derives a perverse pleasure from controlling her environment, and Cassie derives an equal thrill from manipulating his desperate need for that control.
It's an endless loop.
It's a continuous, unbreakable loop of psychological warfare dressed up as a domestic, impending marriage. It is completely captivating to observe as an audience member, but deeply disturbing as a study of human connection.
Clinically horrifying is the exact phrase. They are building a life, a marriage, on a foundation of absolute rot and resentment.
It will not end well.
Segment 3. Scene that sent you. The moment.
Yeah.
You know the one. Let's relive it for the Snark Squad.
I know exactly which cinematic moment affected you the most profoundly.
I am still emotionally wrecked by it. Is the apple shooting scene at the end with Alamo Brown.
Unbelievable tension.
The pure, unadulterated terror in Rue's eyes when that golden gun is pointed directly at her face. The brilliant sound design, the way all the background noise cuts out, leaving just the heavy silence before the deafening gunshot, and then the aftermath. That unhinged, broken, raspy laugh she lets out. It sent actual chills down my spine. It was the exact moment I realized Rue is completely, fundamentally, perhaps permanently broken.
It was a defining moment for her character arc.
What about you? What scene sent you?
For me, analyzing the layers of visual storytelling, it was the border wall car seesaw.
That scene just spiked my cortisol.
Which means it functioned perfectly. But look at the sheer audacity of combining physical comedy with cinematic brilliance. You have a desperate drug mule carrying lethal narcotics, physically stuck balancing a multi-ton metal vehicle horizontally on top of an international border fence.
It was so ridiculous, but so stressful.
The visual of the car teetering back and forth is a perfect, literal manifestation of Rue's internal psychological state, stuck between two worlds, unable to move forward or backward without risking death. And the resolution. The tiny bird landing on the hood to perfectly recalibrate the weight distribution.
The bird.
It's absurdism at its absolute finest. It sent me because it perfectly encapsulated the creator's audacious, rule-breaking, almost surrealist approach to the visual language of this season.
I love how differently we watch this show. Okay, segment 4. Who needs therapy? Immediately. Be honest with me. No judgment. Wait, actually, lots of judgment. Copious amounts of judgment. Who needs professional help ASAP?
The short, empirically accurate answer is the entire cast, the writer's room, the director, and every single person watching at home.
Literally everyone. I need therapy just for watching it.
Yeah.
But if we have to prioritize the psychological triage, Nate and Cassie need a joint straitjacket, an intense, highly isolated, impatient psychological intervention. They are an active danger to themselves, each other, and society at large.
Their shared delusion requires immediate, forceful deprogramming by a team of highly trained specialists. But I would also like to officially submit Faye for emergency fast-track therapy.
Oh my God, sweet Faye. Yes.
Yeah.
Just for the KY jelly and the stray dog incident alone.
Squirrel.
She needs to sit on a very comfortable velvet couch and talk to a highly compensated professional for at least 10 to 15 consecutive years to process the trauma of the motel bathtub scene.
The atrocities Faye has passively witnessed and endured in the name of her proximity to Rue are well beyond the scope of traditional weekly counseling. She needs an entire specialized trauma team and perhaps a new identity.
And a new bathtub. Babes, I am physically exhausted. My heart rate is still through the roof.
It has been a marathon.
To wrap up this absolute whirlwind of a premiere chaos, from Rue's sprawling Wild West drug runs balancing cars on border walls, to Cassie's unhinged 97-candle floral budget OnlyFans tantrum, this episode gave us everything we ever wanted and simultaneously took 3 to 5 years off my natural lifespan.
We witnessed the continued, undeniable excellence of Zendaya, carrying the narrative weight. We survived our own authentic Italian dinner madness with the mystery tentacles, and we successfully navigated the treacherous, morally ambiguous waters of your DMs. It has been an incredibly robust, intellectually stimulating evening.
Truly robust.
Right.
So Snark Squad, we need to hear from you. Get in the comments, get in the DMs. What did you think of the premiere? Were you gagging at this subtle time jump in the new cinematography?
And which DM submission was the messiest? Are you team expose the Finsta or keep it secret?
Oh, they better be on my side. And babes, the most important question, are we emotionally stable enough to survive the rest of this season? Because looking at my current state, I really don't think I am.
The preliminary data strongly suggests we are not equipped for this, but we will persevere and analyze it regardless.
Reminders, babes. Rate, review, subscribe. It helps the show so much. Send your messy, chaotic life submissions to the DMs so we can judge you lovingly. And send this to your most dramatic friend who lives for chaos and needs to spiral with us. We love you, Snark Squad. We literally could not do this without your unhinged energy.
Your chaos fuels our analysis. We deeply appreciate you.
Before we go, I want to leave you with one final, lingering, terrifying thought. We saw Rue survive that golden gunshot. We saw her let out that broken laugh. But think about what she said.
About God?
Exactly. If Rue actually genuinely believes God saved her with that bullet, and Alamo Brown is a literal human trafficker who runs a violent criminal empire, is Rue's salvation actually just her willingly walking into a highly manipulative cult that's way darker and way more dangerous than anything Lori could have ever dreamed up? Chew on that, Biggs.
A profoundly chilling prospect for the trajectory of the season.
Stay shady, stay iconic, and we'll see you on the Snark side.